Thank you to the students of Ms. Graham's class at Sandia Vista Elementary in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, for sending all these really great, interesting questions for me to be able to make this video about. Next question. Why are wolves so important to hunters? So we talked about during our program that all of the wolves, all of the Mexican gray wolf species was hunted out of New Mexico. And this happened through most of the country. In this area and a lot of areas, it wasn't done because the wolves were important to the hunters, but it was done more to protect livestock from wolves. Cows and sheep and other grazing animals that were just out there in the ecosystem, people were afraid they were going to get eaten by wolves, and they would lose them sometimes to wolf attacks. So the federal government actually paid people and encouraged people to go out and hunt wolves. And they ended up hunting all the wolves in New Mexico and in most of the country. Sometimes people hunt wolves for sport or for their pelts, for their furs, or to protect humans from them. But honestly, there haven't been reports of wolf attacks, hardly if ever. Or there's also been some people that did it because they wanted more game animals. So they wanted more deer and elk around. So they killed the wolves so that there'd be more of those animals to hunt. But the big reason was to protect livestock. And as I talk about in a lot of my programs, getting rid of wolves creates big changes to the ecosystem. There's a great documentary that you can watch about wolves in Yellowstone when they were reintroduced and all the different ways that it impacted the entire ecosystem, from the species they eat, which you would expect, to other species and where they went, to the plants, to even the flow of the river. So wolves are important to the ecosystems they're in, and there are some people trying to reintroduce small populations of wolves into parts of New Mexico, mostly down in the Gila near the southwest corner near the Arizona border. And so they're seeing how those wolves do being brought back to the ecosystem. All right, more bear questions. So have I ever been close to a bear? Yes, I have. I was counting. I think I've seen around 10 bears, maybe a little more than that now, in the wild. I have seen in the Sandias, the one time I've seen bears in the Sandias was a mom and her cubs. She had 2 cubs, and they weren't super close. They were across a big valley, and they were up on some boulders across the way, and my coworker and I spotted them while we were out hiking a couple years ago. And they were far enough away that we got to watch them. Mom saw us and we saw her, and you could tell that she was just calm and still letting her kids play. And I've seen a couple bears that have been up in trees, and then when I came close or made noise, they came down the tree and then they ran away. So I've never had trouble with a bear. I've never had a bear come towards me, although the first time or the couple times that happened with the trees, I was worried they were going to come towards me because I'm like, why is it coming down the tree? Why? So it was scary, but then it went away. Someone else asked, if you find a black bear, what do you do? So if you do encounter a bear, you want to look big, put out your arms, wave them around, make yourself look like a bigger object than you are. You could put your backpack up, and stand with other people if you're with other people. Make noise, clap your hands, whistle, talk, kind of say, hey bear, hey bear, hey bear, kind of shout at it a little bit so that it knows you're there, and so it's not as startled by you. It's actually good for it to know you're there. You don't want to hide from it. And then if it is staying where it's at, or it starts to come towards you or anything like that, back away from it. Or even before it starts to come toward you, you can back away. Don't turn, don't run, because that'll signal its chase instinct. We're talking about black bears here only. This is what to do with black bears. If you want to learn more about what to do if you encounter a bear, check out the video on this channel that's all about black bear safety. You'll get to see bear spray being used and learn a lot more detail about it. What was the weirdest thing you have ever found? This one was tough because there's a lot of things you could call weird that you can find out. Anytime I find something that I've never noticed before, especially small things like insect cases and things, they look a little weird. The biggest thing that came to mind when I thought of this question was a baby hatchling woodpecker. It was just this naked looking bird. It didn't have real feathers on it. It just had a very fine coat of very soft, looked like fur. It was pink. It had a big beak, a big head, and sadly it was dead. And it was just lying there on the ground right out in the open. And I looked up and I tried to find if there was a nest, and I didn't see one. It was untouched. Nothing had eaten at it or anything. All right, now a couple of silly questions for you. I got a question, can snakes be in your toilet? I was gonna say no, but a couple people told me that it's happened to them or people they knew. So apparently snakes, especially when it's really the hot, dry season, can be attracted to water. So they might want to go into your toilet because that's where the water is. I love snakes. I really do. I've studied snakes a lot, but I don't want that to happen. But having said that, it's extremely rare. I think more accounts of that are in Australia, places where there's tons of snakes in an area. Very unlikely that you're gonna find a snake in your toilet unless you put it there. Please don't do that. Other funny question, does this squirrel really bathe in its own pee? Okay, I promise you guys, I did not mention this during the program. I never talked about squirrels bathing in their pee. Where did you get this from? Can't say that I've heard of that one, but I looked it up and I found that squirrels will actually take dust baths. They'll bathe in the sand or in really dusty soil. They'll just roll around in it, and that's to remove parasites from their fur. It'll help do that for them. So it might make them dirtier the way we think of it, but it actually helps them. And I did find that there are a species of squirrel monkeys, not found in New Mexico, that do rub some of their own pee or urine on themselves. Scientists aren't totally sure why they do this, but it probably has to do with communicating or attracting a mate by the scent of that urine. Thanks for that one.